You're listening to Character Crusade.
I think we're good. Are we good?
Woosah.
Okay. Here we go. Welcome, everybody, to Character Crusade Podcast. This is episode 40. 40, believe it. We just barely made it to 40, apparently.
Maybe the tech world was out to get us because we're at 40.
Yeah. My name is Stu.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm Michael.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, Michael. You know,
Yes.
there was a distinctive silence there in the middle. Who's missing?
The guy who messed up our technical stuff.
Ah,
he's not here tonight. So
He caused everything to derp. So
Yep. It was the chewing gum he jammed in the mixing board last time we recorded.
I thought
So
that maybe it was because he thought that the CD loading tray was a toaster.
that could be it too.
Okay.
All right.
Well.
So, hey, tonight is going to be kind of fun. We have Micheal from Skyrim Addict joining us. Welcome, Micheal.
How's it going?
Good. Do you prefer Michael or Mike?
Either or really doesn't matter.
Or do you have something else that you prefer to go by altogether? Like Tic Tac or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, Mike or Michael, whatever.
Okay. Sounds good. We got Mike. So this is going to be fun. We're going to talk a little bit about Mike's project and some of the things that they have going on. But mainly we're just going to talk shop about Skyrim. And Mike is a console player, so I think there's going to be a lot of interesting things we can talk about with regard to vanilla play. And I'm pretty excited about that because that's a perspective we don't get enough on the show because we are so heavily immersed in mods and creating mods and, junk like that. I think sometimes I lose touch with the experience that got me into this whole thing and, from the start. First 2 years I played this game, I played it exclusively on Xbox, and I started my channel on Xbox. And so there were things about this game that were so compelling for me that playing on console, I wore out a disc and started a second. So I'm excited to talk about those things. And before we do that, however, we are going to get into some announcements. We have some kind of important things we want to cover. First, let's talk about where we are in the tour. This tour is going to be over, the Skyrim Virtually Immersive Tour 2016.
It's totally immersive.
Yeah, it's overpowered, lore friendly, and mostly immersive.
It is, okay.
That's how we couch this whole
Thanks
thing.
for setting me straight.
I know. Well, hey, we got to get it right. That's what the T-shirt says, so it's got to be true.
Oh, that's very right. That's
yeah.
very right.
So tonight we're broadcasting from the Silver Blood Inn, and I would like to just have everybody note that you will notice this during the broadcast that there is an interesting glitch going on in the footage that I'll be showing you in the background. And there's a gentleman in the tavern that I refer to as the rollerblader. You'll see him for yourself.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're at the Silver Blood Inn tonight. And after tonight, we've only got 4 more stops
The rollerblader.
Yes, the Skyrim rollerblader.
I'm sorry to be laughing, but
No,
it must
no,
be riding
it's-
on something.
You'll see.
If
You'll
you
see.
find the Skyrim rollerblader, please call that person out to all of your chat friends.
I'm sure they've seen it already. They've probably seen all the damn footage I gathered because we spent so much time in purgatory.
Technical purgatory,
Yeah.
exactly.
So we've only got 4 stops left. The virtually immersive tour is going to be over on December 19th.
It is.
Yeah, that will be the last date on the tour, which will be broadcasting from the Retching Netch.
That'll be a great passport stamp, the Retching Netch.
Yes, exactly. What better place to have your last broadcast than from the Retching Netch, you know?
That's so
And
apropos.
just go out with everybody barfing in concert. So what I wanted to mention is that up until tonight, we had been talking about the possibility of adding additional dates to the tour. We have decided not to add additional dates. There's a very specific reason why, and it's a very exciting one that we can't divulge right now. But we are working out the details on adding some very interesting and fun content to this podcast that requires that we kind of be able to reset in the first of the year. So we will be officially ending the virtually immersive tour on December 19th. But what does that mean going forward? Well, what it means is that starting in 2017, we will be streaming. However, we will only be doing a green screen style live stream once a month as opposed to twice a month. And the alternating podcasts will be doing an audio only stream. And that is going to free us up to be able to continue to do our Wayward content. It was really the only way with this new project we're working on that we would be able to accomplish that. So that's kind of what we're gonna be going to in the future. There will be some announcements coming out over the next couple of weeks about what this exciting new thing is that we're going to be working on. We're very pumped, but the only way to make it work was to kind of change up our format starting January 1st. So you can look forward to that. Expect to hear
Nice
something
clean
from us in the
break.
next couple of weeks. Yeah, I think so. Start the first of the year with a brand new thing. 2016 was all about the virtually immersive tour and building the green screen studio. We're going to continue to use it in 2017 because it's just too much fun not to.
That's very true.
So we're still looking for ideas on places that we can broadcast from next year, and we will have. By the end of 2016, we will have broadcast from all kind of the main taverns around Skyrim and Solstheim. So we can start adding some other locations after that, but we will only be doing the green screen broadcast once per month.
So does that mean I get to start wearing green again?
It does, yes. On the
Excellent.
off-broadcast nights, you can wear your green shirt finally.
Nice.
Again.
I'm
Yes.
really glad to hear that.
Okay. Moving on, we have some news from Patreon and iTunes. Take it away, Matthew.
All right. Well, we have 37 amazing 5-star ratings in iTunes now, and probably the briefest of all has come in here on October 14th from Dark Lord Jesus Breath, who says,
God.
now,
Dark Lord Jesus Breath speaks.
after all this time,
Yeah, I know.
it says, now I have to listen to them all. And I think that for anyone who hasn't listened to them all, it's a perfect time to start. Right?
Yeah.
All of this stuff is out on SoundCloud. So if you want to take this in the car, I would absolutely advocate that you do so from SoundCloud and not from YouTube unless you've got a really fantastic connection, because watching our videos while you're driving is a really, really bad idea. However, you can get us on SoundCloud and through iTunes and other places as well. So thank you.
Yes.
This is going to be the weirdest thank you ever.
Yes.
Thank you, Dark Lord Jesus Breath.
Yes. Hey, Mike, you don't happen to know who Dark Lord Jesus Breath is, do you?
I do not.
Okay. Just asking. Just
I
asking.
was thinking maybe it was Victor since he listened to all the episodes in
Yeah.
one day.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I thought about that too.
Hang on. Say that again. Someone listened to all the episodes in one day?
Victor, who's on Skyrim Addict a lot, he drove to Florida from upstate New York and listened to all the episodes.
Holy hell.
We need to give him some sort of an award.
I know. We have quite a few episodes in our catalog that are more than 2 hours long. That is,
Yep.
that's awesome. Yeah.
Yep. He blew through them in a day, and well, I guess between the drive down and the drive back,
And he made it to Florida and back and is still living. Yes?
Skyrim rollerblader. There he is.
Oh, sweet.
Okay, now watch. It's a progressively. It gets progressively worse and worse. There's each time he rides his rollerblades, he goes a little bit further
that's cool.
than he did last time until he's actually shooting off screen, which is super fun, and then he resets. So
You know what it is he's trying to build up a static charge with those socks. He's going to the
could
back
be.
and he's going to zap somebody.
I don't know what it is.
I can only imagine doing that.
yeah.
Is this a stone floor or a wood floor?
That's a stone floor, but I'm guessing it's highly polished.
Yeah, it would have to be because he's getting some
He's getting some serious
really
G's
good
going.
distance.
Yeah,
That's
so
fantastic.
you may continue, sir. Sorry.
All right. So anyway, we also have a couple of folks who joined us on Patreon, and thank you for everyone who has been with us on Patreon. Rycon, who many of you will understand is joining from Rycon Roleplays, and of course, since you can see that on the screen here, helps. And Victor Hoyt have joined us on Patreon. For those who have been wondering whether now is the right time to join Patreon, folks join for $1, $5. $20. You know, we're still waiting for those $25,000 contributors, but we know one's going to come. But for right now, I just want again, for everybody who's joining us, it's helping us. Now, hang on, let me stage this really very carefully. Despite the amount of technology that we're depending on here, that we have tried desperately not to screw up time and time again, it is making the podcast better every time. I would invite you to look back over the first few podcasts and judge for yourself whether things have gotten better. But we're surrounded by more wires here than we could have possibly imagined, and that's largely due to folks joining us on Patreon.
Yeah,
so thank
thanks
you
a
very
lot.
much, Rycon and Victor, for surrounding us in wires.
That is actually our Victor.
Victor, otherwise known as Dark Lord Jesus Breath.
Yes, yeah, we'll assume he's that also.
Potentially.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
That's
I'm
awesome.
going to look you right in the eye and say, thank you, Dark Lord Jesus Breath.
Yeah, that was awesome. Well, okay, that takes care of, I think, anything that we want to cover tonight in terms of announcements. We just like to get the thank yous out there because really, every little bit of support on Patreon certainly helps, and Patreon fluctuates. We have people who contribute for a while and then they drop off and they come back again later. So having kind of a continual influx of people contributing even a dollar each helps us a ton, and it's really cool to see Rycon contributing. I've been contributing to his Patreon campaign for a while now, as well as Gophers and a number of others. So if you've got your favorite podcasts out there, if you've got YouTube channels that you go to time and again for entertainment, consider contributing if you can. If you can't, buy a T-shirt or something. That works too.
Yeah. Wait, a T-shirt.
What? Oh yeah. Look at.
Check
Yep.
that out.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Behold
So we're
them
sporting the
there.
T-shirts today,
Yeah.
partly because, Stu was pretty smelly before he changed his shirt.
Oh
so,
my God, it was bad.
Yeah, but also because people have been asking how these things look in real life, because of course the models on our shop are not quite as buff as we are.
That's true.
Yeah, so it
true.
makes a
Yeah.
big difference to
Yeah,
show
yeah,
them
yeah.
on a potty. Now,
Yeah,
we don't
yeah.
have Joe here, or we'd be able to show the ladies' shirts too. So
Look at Rollerblader go. Look at him. Look at that is
he's
insane.
flying now. That's
Look
awesome.
at that. Yeah, I don't know what mod is that. That's from a mod. It's got to be from a mod because that is not a vanilla character.
If anybody knows what that rollerblading mod is, please let us know, because we're
It's
desperate to
pretty
know.
awesome, though. Okay, so
One other thing.
what?
For all the people who stuck with us through the technical difficulties, everybody, thank you very much for sticking with us. There's a couple dozen of you who are joining us on our live stream this episode, and I just want to say thank you for staying with us. It means the world to me.
Now look what you did. You made him cry. Good God. Oh my God.
You're awesome, every one of you. You're awesome. No matter what time of day or night it is, it's awesome that you stayed with us. So thank you.
All right, let's do this. Let's get into this thing, shall we, Mike?
Mike's been with us for a while too, through the trials and tribulations of technology as
Poor
well.
guy.
But we have an awful lot of questions for you because we want to learn a lot from you tonight,
Yeah.
Michael.
Let's talk a little bit about this because it's kind of funny. A Skyrim Addict has actually been around a little bit longer than Character Crusade has, and it was interesting because about the time that I was, thinking about this idea of starting a Skyrim-focused podcast, it was because I had gone out to iTunes so many times looking for podcast content only to find the same crap over and over again. And by crap, I mean really good podcast, but one that wasn't being made anymore. And so I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to do this. And then boom, suddenly Skyrim Addict drops. And I'm like, oh, crap. You know, somebody beat me to the punch. And I listened to your first few episodes, and I'm like, oh, I get what he's doing. There's room for two of us here because my focus is different. And why don't you give everybody a little bit of a rundown on what Skyrim Addict is, how you started it, and sort of this whole evolution of ASA podcasting?
I guess I kind of started for the same reason you were thinking of starting at the same time. The shows at that time, Thuumcast had ended, and the other shows that were starting to focus on ESO. So I was like, I wasn't going to play ESO because at the time I was only playing on console anyway, and we know that didn't come out for like whatever 3 years later on console or whatever.
Yeah.
It was. But so I was like, well, I'll start one where I just talk about playing Skyrim, and then a couple people started emailing in. Victor, who is a Patreon member now, and Colin, who's on the show, and Andrew, who runs the roundtables, all started emailing in, and then became parts of the show. And then somebody, guy Ben, actually started doing a lore show for us, and then some other people hopped on. So it kind of just grew from there, just basically from just talking about gameplay.
Yeah.
I think the first episode was like 4 minutes or something.
Yeah, it was pretty short. I mean, it couldn't have been more than 5 or 10 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, but it was 100% more than there was before.
That's true. It's true. I think what I liked about it was, I think there's some truth to this whole thing, right? Of just having the same idea. My frustration was that I was having all these great experiences as a Skyrim, and at the time, none of my friends were playing the game, and I literally had nobody to share the experience with.
Yep.
And I thought, man, I just want somebody to talk to about all the fun I'm having here. And so that's kind of when I started my YouTube channel, was because of that. And then eventually the podcast became an idea once Joe started playing. And he and I were having these great conversations. I'm like, finally, I got somebody to talk to about this. We had all these great phone conversations. Like, why aren't we doing this somewhere where we can share it with everybody else? So I think it comes from the same place, you know?
Yeah, that's basically the same thing. I just wanted to talk about the game. I was like, nobody's talking about the game anymore. And I'm still playing, like, I don't know, 3 hours a day or whatever it was at that point. Probably not that much because I'm married and have a kid, so that's just a dream to be playing that much.
Only so many hours in the day right now.
But yeah, at that point, my son was actually starting to play because he was like 5. So, you know, I had him killing bears and things like that. But
cool.
Yeah, it was just a way to share the stories about the game. That was essentially it. And then it just kind of grew from there. And, you know, we started a round table, which Andrew pretty much runs, where everybody gets rolled a random character and has to kind of play it. Which,
nice.
That kind of took on a life of its own, and then went over, and they're doing it on Fallout now. But we're bringing it back since Skyrim's coming back, so Skyrim Roundtable will be doing it again. But yeah, I like, and for me it was like I just wanted to do something easy. I'd done a couple shows before that, and there was a lot of scheduling issues and things like that. And I was like, I'm just gonna do something solo where I don't have to worry about scheduling anything because I can walk to the basement and do whatever I want whenever I want.
Yeah,
big advantage.
That's a bonus.
Yeah, and I like talking to myself, I guess. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, this isn't your first
Don't mind
rodeo.
talking to
This is your
yourself.
first rodeo when it comes to podcasting. So kind of what's your background with podcasting? I know you've done some other shows before.
Yeah, it's probably been 7, 8 years maybe. I don't know. Something like that. I'd started a couple others. I actually did one about Deadliest Catch.
Okay.
Did you really? That would be cool.
Yeah, we did one for a couple years. We interviewed a couple of the people on the show. That was fun.
Wow, that's cool.
That was one of those ones where I actually had to schedule stuff and actually watch something and do that. So that became a bit of a problem.
Right.
Yeah, but the DVR write-off was probably pretty great.
Yeah, I wrote off my TiVo, so that was sweet.
Yeah.
I loved you on that episode where it was cold.
Yeah. That one where you guys like almost got washed over.
Yeah.
Don't you ever wear a life preserver like just because you can?
That one where there was just no crabs in the cage. Yeah. Well, that's really cool. And you had a co-host on that one. What was how did you guys get started on that as a
Well, it's weird.
focus?
Most of the people I know from podcasting before Skyrim, I met through like the Lost community.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you ever heard of it, Jay and Jack podcast. It was a big Lost podcast back in the day.
Okay.
But I kind of have a lot of friends from there, and it kind of grew. Everything kind of branched from there.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Gotta
Now,
start somewhere.
yeah, I know exactly. Podcasting is an interesting thing. I mean, there are a couple different schools of thought. You know, I think you hear a lot of people say, "Well, no one's going to listen to you if the sound quality is bad, so you got to do this and this and this and this and this and this."
Did we do any of those things today?
No, we did none of those things. We did none of those things ever. Okay.
All right. Fair.
But I'm of the school of thought that the best thing you can do is get started right away, no matter what you got. And that's what I like about the whole thing. I mean, this isn't my first podcast either. And some of the podcasts I've done in the past, I've recorded content on my iPhone earbuds, you know.
Wow.
So, yeah, I love the idea of just sort of the everyman grassroots kind of feel of podcasting. There's so many people who have really great things to say and really interesting insights about all kinds of different topics. And we're kind of, I think, in this sort of, I don't know, bonanza time right now with podcasts where there's so many of them coming out you couldn't possibly keep track of even a handful. And
it's a good thing we're here.
well, yeah, and it's unfortunate in a way that the podcasting technology space has not really kept up with the rest of the internet, because there's a lot of awesome content out there, I'm sure, that nobody's finding just because the tools are either suck or are so archaic and impossible to understand that people who have really good content can't get found, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. There's just so much out there now
Yeah.
that, I mean, to get recognized is
Mhm.
Unless you fit like in a like perfect niche, it's like
Yeah.
it's impossible. Because I know when friends of mine started, they would pop up on the the main iTunes charts, like in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like that's unless you're a comedian, you're not popping
Yeah.
on any charts or whatever. you
Yeah.
know?
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's nobody who knows how the iTunes podcast ranking algorithm works. I'm convinced that includes people at Apple.
Oh, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If Dan Benjamin doesn't know how it works, nobody knows how it works. Like,
All right. Call them out.
yeah, Dan Benjamin, he's the guy who runs the 5x5 podcast network, which is the ultimate podcast network out there. He does amazing things. He's got really cool hosts like Merlin Mann and all these characters, right? And he does a podcast where he tries to help people who are starting their own podcast be successful. And he had a whole episode on that topic, like how the hell do you get ranked in iTunes? And nobody knows, including him. So it's
No idea.
it's a racket, but whatever.
Yeah, along like 5 years ago, you could pop up on there, and you can still, especially in the in certain categories, whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's just so much harder now. There's just so much more out there. But it's also good because there's so much more out there. I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think what I really appreciate about the work that you guys are doing is just the genuineness of it, if that's a word.
That's a good word.
Yeah. And I thought it was really cool. I listened to an episode recently where you were actually interviewed by one of your listeners. Did he just like approach you and say, "Hey man, I really want to interview you. Can we do this?" Or how did that come to be?
Yeah. I think he had been on the Fallout feed once or twice. But
Okay.
yeah, he lives nearby me. I think actually relatively close. Anyway,
That's
but
funny.
yeah, he just emailed me. He was like, "Hey, I just want to ask you a bunch of questions before the thing." I was like, "All right." It's like, hey, whatever. I'm up for anything, whatever.
That's like the ultimate endorsement is to have someone like, a fan say, hey,
I'd
maybe
like to
people
talk
would
to you.
want to know more about you. I think it was really interesting that he interviewed you, and then that went into your stream, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, that's always odd to me because I'm like, you could just ask me questions. It's all right. Like,
Yeah.
big deal. It's like just a podcast. It's cool.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, I was excited to listen to it because you name dropped Character Crusade in that episode too, which
Yes.
I was
Well,
excited
actually,
about that.
We talked about it a lot yesterday because of Victor's drive back and forth to
Oh,
Florida.
really?
But then, of course, I uploaded an episode
Yeah.
from 3 weeks ago instead of the correct episode. So
I saw you tweet on that today because I listened to it like I'm like, oh, it's 105. I got to listen to this, and I tuned it in the car, and I'm like, I swear to God, I heard this episode before.
It was the best of.
It was the best of. Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, somebody has to message me. Hey, actually, 2 people did. I don't think that's the right episode. And I'm like,
Are you sure?
I'm like, of course it's not.
Yeah.
Oh no, because all I'm trying to do is to troll y'all.
Wouldn't know what to do if anything went smoothly. Exhibit A right here.
Yeah, we'll show a picture for everyone who has joined us on Facebook or wants to join us on Facebook. A little picture of the technical
Yeah.
setup that we've got here, and one of the
Yeah.
reasons why a couple of amateur guys here may have a little issue with the podcasting setup. So,
I swear to God.
hey, we've done it 40 times. It's gotten a little bit better. I have to
Has
say,
it?
no. Let's be fair. This was the worst it's ever been,
True.
and now we can blame it on.
And
Jeff.
that's why I cut you off from the live stream the second time around, because I didn't want you to hear the things I was saying because
Stu
it wasn't
was-
very nice.
Stu was using grown-up words.
I was, yes. I
And
was
that's
using
one
my
of the reasons
grown-up
why we've
words.
got the explicit rating on everything.
Yeah, we gave up on that a long time ago. I switched it to explicit after the first 3 episodes. I'm like, okay, whatever.
I had to because that's just how I talk. So
Yeah.
it's like, I'm eventually just going to say something. So I may as well just put it on there just in case.
Yeah,
Now-
it's a fail-safe.
One of the things that I would like to say, since a couple of people have called it out, we are working in a repurposed space here in which Stu has to transition from his regular Clark Kent job
Correct.
into a room where we have green screen behind us. So occasionally when you see some white artifacting behind us, it's because the wind is blowing behind us and the imperfect green screen isn't perfect. So OWA,
What are you saying?
thanks
My
for
green
calling that
screen
out.
isn't perfect. You got a lot of nerve, buddy.
I'm in awe of your green screen, Stu.
My mommy sewed this thing together for me.
Hey, your mommy only sewed part of it together.
No, she.
For those who are looking to green screen, though, there is green chroma paint that you can use that is fantastically expensive, or you can buy one of these awesome sheets, and this works really pretty well as long as you don't move or breathe.
Correct.
So
Yes.
it's great.
So everybody.
But anyway, those are the kinds of things. Again, we go back to the Patreon thing. We weren't able to do these things before we had some support from the folks on Patreon. So thanks. That's what
Yes.
allows us to sit here in this incredible Skyrim land here wearing our awesome shirts
Yes.
and mostly blending in. So thanks, everybody.
Mostly, yes. So let's talk a little bit about your experience getting into Skyrim. So you're playing, what are you playing on Xbox or PlayStation?
Well, actually, no. I
Or what are you doing?
I play on PC now.
Oh, you do? Okay.
The first,
Oh, no. We're talking about when you started.
When I started, I played on 360 for like
Okay.
3 years.
Okay.
Gotcha. All right.
How is that different? Talk a little bit about the 360 versus on the PC.
Number one, load screens.
Oh,
I get to
yeah.
play a lot more because the load screens aren't 4 hours long.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's an issue.
I think that was the biggest drawback, honestly, was that was what moved me over eventually, was the load screen issue. I was just like, this is unbearable. I would walk into my house because, of course, I hoarded everything, and it would take like 2 minutes to actually get inside the house.
Oh, yeah.
Because it had to draw all of the little pieces of everything you had picked up all over Skyrim.
All 1,200 cheese wheels.
Yeah, I would have
Every book.
a chest full of gems and a chest full of swords and a chest full of ingots and
Nice.
Yeah.
the typical
Yeah.
hoarding issue that comes about in Skyrim.
Mhm.
But yeah, so it would take me 2 to 3, 4, 5 minutes. Who knows? It felt like forever, and I was like, I can't. I have to. have to resolve this issue somehow.
The Xbox had to think too much.
I remember having the same issue. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, I heard it was actually worse on PlayStation. I never played it on PlayStation though.
Me either. I was always a 360 guy myself. So. Yeah,
yes, I did pick it up. I picked it up day one because I played Oblivion. I was an Oblivion player.
Okay.
I loved that. Probably put 1,000 hours into that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
sounds about right.
then when Skyrim came out, I was like, man, this is like hit everything that I wanted.
Yeah.
You know, it was just perfect. And I have to admit, the first time I played it, I didn't know how the perk trees worked.
Ah, okay.
So my character was like level 30, and I had never used any perks yet.
Really?
Wow, that must have just been like the biggest shopping spree
Holy
ever.
hell.
It was crazy. So like it was great because I was like leveling up like crazy because I was doing so little damage with like regular weapons and stuff.
Oh
You
my
were
God.
level 30, and you were
Yeah,
you
no,
were
it was-
fighting things at level 30 with level 0 stuff.
With no perks.
with no
basically.
perks at all.
It was
Wow.
hard. It was not easy.
You must have been like fast on that sword swinging, button mashing.
No kidding.
And then I
Yeah.
like unloaded all the perks at once, and I'm like, wow, I'm really powerful.
See, now I would have taken it as, wow, do I get to go into this perk tree this often? You know, I've been playing for 1,000 hours, but wow, do I get to go in and spend 30 perk tree points every time?
Yep.
Oh man,
Sweet.
that was amazing. But the first time it was, that was probably the first like 2 days because God knows how many hours I played those first couple days. But all of a sudden I was like, oh, I can put stuff in these trees. Oh, or constellations. But I'm like,
All of the above.
That is great. It's really funny because everybody's got a story like that. Most people have a story like that. Matt, of course, has the Naked Nord story where he was playing in first person and didn't realize that he had no armor equipped.
Yeah, but I
Okay.
also had almost no clothing on whatsoever.
That's what I mean.
Except a helmet.
Nothing
Yeah.
equipped. He was
Oh,
basically in a loincloth.
that's great.
You know, it's like, why am I taking so much damage? Oh, I don't know. Well, look. Oh, yes, I'm adventuring in my underwear. I guess that would explain it. My story was that I left Helgen and I went totally a different direction than the way that the game is steering you. And I played up until probably level 15 or so without realizing that I hadn't advanced the main quest line. I didn't have a standing stone that would have gotten me a 20% bonus on leveling and all that stuff. And at that point I was like, you know what? I'm throwing this character away and starting over and acting as if I know what's going on. You know, and so, you know, I mean, I went all the way from Helgen to Riften, basically, you know, walking in sneak mode the entire time, absolutely terrified, not knowing what I was going to encounter and whether I could defeat it. At that point, I was so like gun shy about combat because I had never played an Elder Scrolls game before, ever, and just didn't know what I was up against. I just knew the environment looked amazing and I wanted to see more of it. And if I could somehow survive to get over the next hill to see the next view, it was worth it, you know? So... yeah, but, you know, you learn very quickly, I guess. It's amazing to me that you could play that far with no perks. It's incredible, actually.
It was, from what I remember, it was pretty difficult. I did take that character to level, 81 in the beginning.
Oh,
you
my
can go
God.
to.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I took that character all the way to 81 before the legendary stuff came out. Yeah, where they
Wow.
lifted that. So
I have never made it to 81, ever.
no, I maxed out everything. Oh man, and like some of the stuff like heavy armor, I would just stand in the middle of White Run and just hit a guard in the face and stand there and just let them all beat on me.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Because it was really the only way to get it, you know, to grind that up at that level because you're just not.
Yeah.
It just takes forever when you get up that high.
Well, when you're playing for yourself, when you're doing one of your solo podcast episodes, are you playing a different character than what you would play for one of your roundtable episodes then?
Yeah. The round table generally will be a whole separate specific character just for that. Because let's see, the last one we did was Necromancers. We all played as Necromancers. I think we went through the Dawnguard storyline. Like previous to that, we had done Dragonborn and the main quest and Civil War, things like that, and had characters for each one. Sometimes we've carried them through like 1 or 2 roundtables, but usually it's just in the one, and then we start it with a new one.
So is the round table typically always focused on a particular type of character, or are there episodes focused on particular quest lines as well, or both?
Oh, in the past, it's mostly been the quest lines, but everybody gets a different style character. That way, we get different viewpoints of how people went through the quest lines.
Oh, that makes sense.
We did Daedric, too. We did all the Daedric quests as well, one of them.
Okay, cool. Well, I love that concept because I think it makes for a really interesting discussion to hear other people's take on how to pursue a particular idea in Skyrim. You guys have done some episodes recently. Well, in episode 103, you talked about crafting. Incidentally, you talked about it in 105 as well, but then that episode went away and is being replaced with something else. So what was I know you guys were talking a ton about crafting. Was that based on a particular character idea, or did you just decide you wanted to talk about crafting as a topic?
We decided to do a couple shows coming up because of the special edition coming out, to do just basic vanilla kind of stuff with kind of an idea of the basic mods that may hit consoles, touching on that a little bit. Right. But we wanted to have like a guide basically for people who are just going to play it for the first time, because I assume there's going to be a bunch of people doing that since it has been 5 years. So you have a whole group of people who weren't really old enough to play it previously who may be picking it up now.
Gotcha.
So like we did the crafting one yesterday, we actually talked about factions, all the factions, and I think that's it because we don't have that much time left. Yeah, so we just wanted to touch on some things that new players would be interested in, because there has been an uptick in interest, so I assume it's from people who are either coming back to the game or who are going to start it for the first time. So we kind of wanted to go back to the basics a little bit since we haven't done that for quite a while.
Yeah. I have this idea with 25 million people having
where are we getting that feedback
bought Skyrim, that there's an awful lot of people who are interested in playing in general, and I think with the resurgence of the new release, it's going to be humongous for a while here.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I think at first people were thinking, "Oh man, we all wanted a new game, but what we got was a remaster." But the closer we get to it, I think the more exciting it is, especially when you consider the potential it has for bringing a whole new audience of people into the game who can now, try some of these mods that the rest of us sort of take for granted, right?
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of people who have maybe the last time they played Skyrim was in 2014 or 2015, who are going to come back to the game to see the new graphics and then get hooked on the mods, and we're going to see kind of, I think, a resurgence in role play and excitement about the game, which I think is pretty awesome. So
I agree.
I'm stoked about that.
I think what's interesting for me about it is the fact that just like an audio file will go by a remastered album that they already have, because you'll find things that you never found the first time around. I'm sure that the same thing will happen for people who may have set Skyrim aside for a while.
I definitely agree.
Dude in the background.
Rollerblade guy's going again. Oh my God. Yeah, I recorded footage for the background today, and I saw that guy scooting around, and I'm like, man, have I been just recorded like 15 minutes of this guy just flying around the room? I'm like, all right, I'm keeping it.
He's kind of like Tarzan.
I don't know.
Going down the trees and stuff.
Yeah, I want some 70s funk roller skating music to go with that. Maybe some strobe lights in a disco ball.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's very, very cool. I mean, I guess I'm wondering what's the ASA take on the Skyrim remaster? I mean, you guys must have some thoughts on the remaster and its impact on the community, and some plans about how you're going to approach your podcast going forward after its release.
Yeah, you know what? We were talking about it a little bit yesterday, and well, we're starting up the roundtable again. We're bringing that back because Andrew had started hosting the Fallout feed, our Fallout podcast. I stopped playing it a while ago, so he kind of took that over with Kara and all. And so he took the roundtable over there and was doing that with that game. But it's just, a lot of us just love Skyrim. So it's like, want to come back there. And oddly enough, a bunch of us who play on PC, Victor, Colin, myself, we're all getting it for Xbox One, and you're going to use that for our roundtable characters.
Oh.
Because I think that'll give us a little more insight into how people are experiencing the mods on there and stuff. So I think that'll be a good vantage point to take it from, because I haven't played enough Fallout to really know how I know I've used a few of the mods on there, but I just haven't put in enough hours to know how well it's worked. But from everything everybody's been saying, it's been going pretty smooth. So, and then Victor was talking yesterday that they had given Bethesda had given out the creation kit and copies and stuff to a bunch of the larger modders, like was it Chesco and some other people.
Cal on Dirty Weasel, he did a little report on that, and Chesco is officially not commenting.
Okay.
But there are a number of modders who have it already and have already ported over mods, and mods can already be found on Bethesda.net. And there's a lot of really interesting things happening right now, not the least of which is the fact that the creator of Mod Organizer has been hired by Nexus.
By Nick, we actually talked about that. Yeah, exactly. There's so much going on. It's like, and I think that's part of why we're all going to play it on Xbox One, is because we don't want to touch our PC ones until we know what's going on.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I think that's the big fear right now. It's like, what's going to happen with that?
Yeah, I confess I don't have an Xbox One, so I'm going to be sticking with my 32-bit version for now on my PC, so I can continue my roleplay stories. But I have no doubt that at some point I'll be making the switch over. I don't know really how that's going to take shape yet. I think I'm going to probably wait and see how things shake out with Nexus and all of this business. I've gotten so accustomed to using Mod Organizer to manage everything, and I've got profiles, and there's a significant amount of complexity in my setup that I'm probably just not going to mess with it until I'm absolutely sure that I'm not going to completely hose something up. But yeah, I think if I had an Xbox, I'd probably be all over that, so.
Yeah, that's kind of our safety net, I think, is what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
To not blow up, because I have a pretty stable. I have a couple characters that are really stable right now, and I'm like, I just don't want to mess with them because I'm using them.
Yeah.
I don't want them
I know,
to go
right?
away.
I find that out even when I just have a messed up, load order, and the game says something's missing. Are you sure you still want to play? No, of course I don't want to play.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? You spend a lot of time doting over it and trying to figure out what mods are going to be in canon for whatever it is you're doing, and then kind of trying to discipline yourself about downloading anything new that might hose up your setup. It's
right.
I don't know. It's a little bit frustrating sometimes that you're in a situation where you can't just go out and grab everything, but that's the nature of the beast, right? I mean, there are so many things out there that are just terrific mods, and probably twice as many that nobody's updating, and probably have memory leaks in them, and God knows what else going on. So yeah, I can totally sympathize with that. So most of the guys that are on ASA podcasting, then, are you guys all running on PC as well then?
Most of us are. The only one who isn't, who's on regularly, is Andrew. He plays on 360, but he's mostly focusing on Fallout anyway until it comes back. So, in the beginning, I was on 360 for a long time, and Andrew was on PlayStation, but everybody else was on PC, I believe. for the most part.
Okay, cool. So I guess you, how many shows do you have on ASA now?
Actually, it's a good question. I think it's
quiz time.
Six.
Yeah.
Go with 6. We'll call it 6.
Yeah.
There's because I start there's 6. There's Skyrim Addict, Let's Play Skyrim, or doing all Let's Play. Actually, not just me. Colin did one too. Andrew, who's in the chat, Fallout feed.
He's happy to be called out.
Yeah.
Hello, Andrew.
Greetings.
Thank you for joining.
Let's see. My journey with cystic fibrosis, which is Jeremy's show, and that's actually a charity we support, Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, and Game Talk, which Jeremy also hosts, which is just general gaming BS, and the Chatterbox, which I do, which I forgot about, which is a show where we get together like once a month and just talk about whatever.
Just about anything.
Anything at all. It really doesn't matter. Generally, not gaming at all. Once in a while.
That's cool.
But mostly just random stuff. Just people I've known for a long time, and we just talk.
That's awesome. I love that. So I guess one of the things I'm interested in is early on in your podcast, when you started out, you were kind of going solo, but it wasn't too long after you started that it seemed like you got involved in a podcast network, and I forget what the heck it was called, something to have to do with a shark.
Oh, yeah. That was Blake, was kind of started that up. Blake and actually Andrew did a show together at one point, a podcast about podcasts.
Oh, okay.
The most meta thing in history. But he had kind of started something up, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. I'll hop on if you want to. Do, I'll be part of whatever.
Right.
Just and he was doing a gaming show with somebody else, I believe, at the time as well.
Okay.
But yeah.
So did that become ASA, or is that a different thing?
No, that was just a separort thing.
Okay.
I only started the ASA umbrella just because there was more than 2 shows.
Okay.
Like, all right, just for ease of finding everything, we'll just make a website and put it all in one place.
Nice.
Right.
So it's more for ease of labeling anything than anything else.
Makes sense.
Plan or anything.
Yeah, so listeners, if you go to ASA Podcasting, isn't it ASA Podcasting? I think it's ASA Podcasting, right?
Yep. Yeah, just asapodcasting.com.
Yeah, if you go there, you can find all kinds of different shows there. There's 5 or 6 different shows. There's the Fallout one, which I have not listened to. I've been pretty much listening exclusively to Skyrim stuff so far, but that's one I want to take in. And I think one of the things that we wanted to talk about tonight for sure, we want to make sure we talked about, and you mentioned just a minute ago, was the charity event that you guys are doing to kind of coordinate with the rollout of Skyrim Special Edition here at the end of October for cystic fibrosis. Maybe give us a little bit of information about that, let people know what they can do to participate.
Yeah, so we kind of started it last year, was our first one. I kind of took the idea from friends of mine who did like a 24-hour podcast thing for a while and things like that. And last year we lined it up with the release of Fallout. This year we lined it up with the release of Skyrim again. And basically we're going to do 12 hours. And we're raising money for Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, CFF.org.
Okay.
And you can either donate through us, and if you go through us, we have a little raffle we do basically.
Right.
Have like a Skyrim pack of stuff to give away. I think there's actually 2 packs of Fallout kind of memorabilia stuff. Some of the things I picked up at San Diego Comic-Con, some of the things, I bought from Etsy and places like that. Just things you don't normally see.
Okay.
And a copy of the most hated game in the world, No Man's Sky, which I actually enjoy.
Oh.
It might be on the edge of most hated in the world. Yeah, that's true. Now that I think about it,
that's the thing, though. I think the game, people should really appreciate the game for the achievement it is.
No kidding.
The stuff that it does,
it's amazing.
Is amazing, and yes, it may be rough, but what game isn't at launch? And I'm feeling like what No Man's Sky represents is possibility. You know, the idea that you could have a procedurally generated world that has the possibility. You think about what's going on under the hood with that game, and it boggles the mind. So,
oh my God, amazing.
Yeah, I haven't played it myself, but I've listened to a lot of the criticism, and I've watched some Let's Plays and stuff like that. And I guess I don't know that it's a game that I'll play, but I certainly appreciate it for the achievement it is, and I think it's exciting the potential that is there for other games in the future.
Yeah.
So it's very cool.
It's a
So you've been
fantastic
liking
engine.
that, huh? You've been all over that one?
Yeah, I kind of play. It's something I can hop in and out of, and you know, I don't have like, it doesn't matter where I'm at.
Right.
You know, like sometimes when you don't play a character like in whatever, either Skyrim, Oblivion, and then you come back to it after like a couple weeks, and then you're like, wait, where was I? What was I doing? Wait, what do I have to do? You kind of lose place.
Yeah.
It's more like Minecraft in the sense that you can just hop in it and just start doing your thing.
Right.
And you know, so I do like it for that, because sometimes I just don't really want to quest or think about anything. I just want to, I don't know, play a game for no reason whatsoever.
Right.
And just not think for like 20 minutes after work or something.
Yeah, something to occupy your mind for a
Yeah,
little while, you know.
Fly around space and check out some places. So yeah, I appreciate it for what it is. I mean, it does have its rough spots for sure, but yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah. Well,
maybe the person on the internet who enjoys it, but enjoys
you know, it's a fickle community, you know.
Oh my God, it is.
There's no such thing as a perfect game. It doesn't matter what you release. There's always some clown somewhere who doesn't like it for whatever reason.
Yeah, because you used the wrong color blue, or
it really comes down to that. And believe me,
or because you call it every man's as opposed to every person's or every being's, or
right?
whatever it might
I
be.
have been criticized on my YouTube channel because Vander's armor is blue by somebody who doesn't like blue. You know, to which my response was, not unkind. It wasn't unkind.
Maybe we'll censor the content.
Yes, it wasn't unkind, but I was saying a lot of things and not typing them. It's just something. It's a fact of life, I think, with the community of gamers in which we're engaged. You know, it's just there's always somebody who's not going to like something. So, when I look at something like No Man's Sky, or any game for that matter, I try to evaluate it based on how I feel like it's advancing the overall landscape of games in general. And I think that No Man's Sky is an achievement, a real achievement in many, many ways. So even if I don't play it, even if it's not a game that I feel like I can get into, I get really excited about the potential for the things discovered through something like No Man's Sky that could be applied to a game I might play 5 years down the road, or 10 years down the road, or who knows what. If it's an Elder Scrolls game 20 years down the road. So
yeah, unfortunately.
Maybe only 3 or 4.
Oh man, I don't even want to think about that weight. But honestly, I'm having so much fun with Skyrim still. I think it.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. That was my one worry about when the special edition, they announced it and all. I'm like, are people really going to be into it? Because people were more hyped, thinking maybe we'd get an announcement. I thought this year would be too early for an announcement anyway.
Right.
But people were hoping for next year for an announcement. But with the special edition, I mean, that's probably, you're looking 2-3 years off at least now.
Yeah.
I was just wondering how that would have hurt, if that would have hurt the re-release of Skyrim, but it seems not to have. So
I don't think so. It's pretty incredible. The community that is evolving around Skyrim, even now, 4 or 5 years after the game has been released, I feel like at least in the niche where I'm operating, I really get a sense that there's a lot of renewed interest in the game, not only from players, but from people who have decided they're interested in modding the game. We're still seeing some really incredible mods come out for this game, and I think the fact that Bethesda is launching a remaster and kind of doubling down on Skyrim in a way is an indication to people that they're committed, and this is a thing worth building for because there's only more to come. And that, to me, that's exciting. Look, I started playing Skyrim on the day that it was released, and I have not bought another game for my Xbox since then. You know,
That's high praise.
I mean, other than a second copy of Skyrim. Oh, wait a second, and a third copy of Skyrim. I've bought this game 4 times.
You should be able to get a free disc if you wear it out.
Holy hell, yeah.
I think it's because it was spending too much time spinning.
It was. I mean, literally, the first disc I bought, the layers of the disc started to separate, started to come apart. It was peeling away, and I'm like, oh, shit, I better buy a new disc. So I bought another one and continued to play and then went to PC. But, when you think about it, for me, the staying power of this game, there was a lot to like in vanilla Skyrim, but when I got my hands on mods and then when I got my hands on Creation Kit and discovered I could build my own stuff,
that's amazing.
I was absolutely hooked, So, yeah, I think it's pretty incredible. I mean, where has the staying power come for you? I mean, what is going on in your head when you play this game that makes you think I have a choice to play 10 different games right now, but I think I'll play Skyrim again?
I still love the stories in it and just the world itself. And now with even the little tweaks even when I was playing on console and it was 3 years in, and really 3 years into a game on console, how could you not have done everything at that point?
Yeah.
But I would still find ways. Like I played I don't role play as heavy as you would do, but I'm a very light role player, I would say. But I did a vegan character, and I was tried to play as a vegan character in the world of Skyrim, which is not easy.
That's it. What an interesting gameplay, though.
I know, right?
It was not easy to do. There wasn't a lot of clothes available.
That's the first time I've heard of someone doing that. That's totally cool.
Yeah, that's true.
So I did that on 360, and then I did a character who was afraid to go into the cities after being arrested and almost beheaded, as you probably would be.
Yeah, right.
And I probably played 20, 30 hours on that character, just never going to a city, maybe more than that.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so I found ways to it, and I still enjoy it because I just enjoyed being in the world. And then, when I finally moved over to PC, just even the little things you can do, like bigger trees or the enhanced cities, it just changes the game so much.
4K tree bark.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was...
I'm just kidding.
God, that's hilarious. Voices from the Dark, that was his pitfall. 4K tree bark crashed his game. But yeah, it's so true. And I think that's one of the things that has me most engaged with the game right now as we start to work more with, the YouTube series like Expedition Skyrim, where we're focusing on builds and what is the thing about that play style that makes it compelling. Like you're saying, the challenge of trying to play a vegan character. Holy cow. I mean, that's something that you would never think about, but that I think that speaks a lot to the, sort of the flexibility of this game that, and then the wide open nature of this game, that you could do something as simple as instituting a single rule and it would change your entire gameplay experience. And it makes the world look like a different place.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty compelling. I mean, it means that you could play this game 20, 30 times over and have a completely different experience every single time and significantly different, not just surface level different.
Right.
Yeah, there's just so many options available to you, even vanilla-wise, let alone mod-wise, that...
Yeah.
When I hear people, when you would hear the people say, oh, I finished it in 30 hours or whatever, what did you finish?
I always wonder what that means. I finished the game. Really?
Yeah. Yeah, what I really hate is when people say they beat a game. Like, they beat. Okay, yeah, you beat Donkey Kong, okay? Yeah, exactly. You didn't beat Skyrim. You don't beat it, It's just weird. It's a weird thing to say, in my opinion, but that's just me, so... Anyway.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's like they don't understand the game is probably what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Or they're only just assuming that it's something that you complete and then you put the disc away rather than figuring out another way to wear out at the disc.
Yeah. Well, everybody's wired differently. I can't begrudge people for their play style. Obviously, my play style's pretty over the top, but it's not like if I'm playing Skyrim, if I'm sitting around in my house playing Skyrim, I'm not voicing my character. I'm not sitting in my dining room
you are.
Speaking as Vander. I'm not doing that.
Yes, you are.
I'm putting on a show. It's improvisational acting, if you will, and it's a completely different thing to me. Thinking of what I do as play versus performance. So for me, role playing has always been an activity that's going on inside my head as I play, and it's a framework that I'm using subconsciously most of the time to make decisions in game based on whatever I think is reasonable for the character I'm playing.
Right.
And that's why I would describe what you're doing, Mike, playing a character to be a vegan, as being a role play. It's a role play. You're making decisions based on a set of criteria that makes sense to you, and having a unique role play experience because of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's the distinction for me anyway. So, very cool.
There's so much stuff that can just be done every single time you open up the game, and that's what I think is so much more exciting since you don't really beat it. I remember so many of the games that I played when I was living with my old roommate. When I beat the game, I never went back to it. This is one that, because quite frankly, there's a long way for me to go before I would consider beating it. Everything is still new when I fire it up. That's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you say, Mike, that given your play so far, do you think you've experienced all the quests there are to experience? Or are there still things that you haven't touched yet?
I'm trying from the vanilla game itself, I would think there can't be much I didn't hit. Because I had to have well over 1,000 hours just on the console.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was only going vanilla then. So, I'd imagine I'd hit almost everything.
Right.
Sometimes I get to things now and I'm like, wow, did I ever do this? But then I kind of remember it. But I don't know if that's just my old brain thinking I did it and I didn't really do it. I don't know. There's those things maybe you did once 4 years ago, but haven't been back to since.
Right.
So I do come across that from time to time. But that first character, I scoured the map for everything nonstop.
Yep.
so I think I pretty much, hit all of that. I haven't played. I think I've done both ends of most of the quests where you can go, two different directions, like in Dawn Guard or Civil War, all that kind of stuff. I've generally done both directions of those.
And fought the Ebony Warrior?
Yeah, I fought that.
Wow. I've never fought the Ebony Warrior because I've never made it over level 70.
Oh, wow.
At what level do you find the Ebony Warrior?
81.
81.
Yep.
You got to max out.
I'm only like 60 levels away.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Rollerblader's back. Woo.
Actually, that is the Ebony Warrior. You just don't know it. He's in exercising.
He's hiding right now. He's sliding behind him.
Yeah.
That's how he stays in shape.
Yeah, working on the strengthening the groin with the skating exercises.
I didn't know that groin muscles were important.
Oh, they are. Yeah, if you're wearing heavy armor, you gotta have rippling groin muscles. That's a requirement. So, sorry, did I say rippling groin? Wow.
I had to mute my mic for a minute there.
This is something I never thought I'd say.
Wow.
But I'm glad I did.
Rippling groin muscles.
I'm glad I did. In fact, that'll be the title of this episode.
Rippling groin muscles.
No, I wouldn't do that to Mike. That would be terrible. It would have his name associated with our rippling groin episode.
I haven't heard some of my past podcasts.
You'll have to send me some links to your greatest hits.
Yeah, they're embarrassed. I know. Yeah, I'm not even gonna mention what it is because it was a dark time.
Dark time. That's awesome. So, let's see. You guys have this charity event. What What's the date of that?
Yeah, good question.
It's going to be on October 29th, so the day after Skyrim comes out,
Okay.
10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time, New York time, essentially, depending on where people are.
For our remote listeners, can you repeat that again, Michael?
Yes. Let's see. Time October 29th, 10 a.m., 10 p.m. on our YouTube channel, ASA Podcasting. And 10 a.m., that would be New York time.
Eastern time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent.
Great.
Make it easier. I think it's GMT minus something. I don't know, 4. Something like that.
I imagine you guys got a whole kind of itinerary of events that are going to be going on in the stream that day.
Yeah, we're paring down our schedule now. Actually, we have a lot of. At the middle of the day is a lot of Skyrim. Plus, we're going to be on YouTube doing the podcasts, and on Twitch, people are just going to be streaming different stuff.
Okay.
So we'll have both going, and obviously taking donations, things like that. And generally during the day, like last year, we had so many different people hop on. I couldn't even name all of them.
That's cool.
That
That's
is
just
cool.
really cool, though.
Yeah, people from all different podcasts, and it was great. So we're hoping to. I think we raised $580 last year, and we're actually well on our way there already, and we haven't officially started anything. So
Amazing.
So how are you guys taking donations?
well, there's 2 different ways. Like to be a part of the raffle, you can donate through PayPal, asapodcasting@gmail.com, friends and family, and then that way I can curate a list. And basically, I do a random number generator. What is it? Random.org or whatever, and I'll pull out. Everybody gets assigned a certain amount of numbers based on whatever donation. I think it's for every $10, we basically give them a raffle ticket, essentially.
Cool.
Nice.
Then I'll just do on YouTube. I'll screen share random.org and click on it and see what number comes up. and
Sounds
if
good.
it's your number, you got it.
Awesome.
But if you want to donate directly through cff.org, that's great too. For us, it's just about raising the money for it. The raffle part, just a way, is like a little incentive, basically. So either way, it doesn't matter to us. Just if you donate through there because of the event, just let us know so we can kind of keep a running total, basically,
Cool.
of what's going on. That's all.
Sounds great. Sounds really great. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping I can clear some time in my schedule to tune in. So that is very, very cool. So folks,
and hopefully everybody will.
Yeah, if you want more information on ASA podcasting or the charity event, you can find all of that stuff at asapodcasting.com. And then also, if you're interested in listening in to Skyrim Addict or any of the other ASA podcasts, you can link to those from their website. Or what I like to do is I go out to iTunes and I search for Skyrim, and boom, there's Skyrim Addict right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. And usually, a couple of slots down the chain from ASA is Character Crusade.
Are you suggesting people should click on that?
No, not at all.
I would be happy to read more 5-star reviews
Yes.
for those of you who would want to hear
Yes,
that.
and all of us are interestingly a few frames behind the continuously and recently updated Thuumcast.
Yeah, I know, it's amazing.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah, how a person can just stop doing updates but still dominate the charts. I love that. I love that. It must be nice. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Keeg's Quest is always there as well.
Oh.
Have you ever listened to Keeg's Quest?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, amazing.
That is amazing stuff. Yeah, that is amazing stuff. It whole new take on Skyrim quests and stuff like that. I love it.
Oh,
It's
gosh.
really good. It's wonderful, wonderful stuff. Yeah, yeah. That was for me. That was something I listened to quite regularly. Taking walks, I would go out and take a walk and put in Keeg's Quest, and that was my companion as I was hoofing around town, attempting to get exercise. So yeah, I mean, a lot of cool things going on. I'm hoping that you guys have a good showing or a good turnout.
Oh yeah.
For this event. I think it's very cool that you guys are doing it. I think it's kind of a neat thing to do, and we'll participate in any way we can. Certainly, we wanted to have you on to get your opinions on Skyrim and make a connection with ASA Podcasting and learn more about you guys and let our listeners know what all you got going on, but also kind of promote this cool thing that you're doing with CFF.org. So, I guess, folks, we are reaching the end of the episode. I would be open to taking any questions via chat if people have questions for Matt, Stu, or Mike at this point. Love to open it up. I don't know. I wonder. We've probably got some Skyrim Addict fans who are listening in because, yeah.
Why is
Mike's groupies following him? Mike, you've got groupies, right?
Oh, I seem to have lost my chat session here.
What did you do? What happened?
I
What happened?
brokified something. Let me drop
Here.
out of there.
See,
my feed is going a little slow.
let's try this.
Oh, sure. It'll probably work for you,
Well, no
Mr.
guarantees.
Fancy Pants.
No guarantees.
Pop out chat here.
Generally speaking, shit does
Server
not
not
work for
found.
me. Okay.
Hey, Michael, is our feed still coming through on the stream?
Yeah, I can still hear you in my headset.
Yeah, we're still live.
We're still the voice in your head.
We're still live. This is just a Matthew issue. That's really it.
Okay. All right. It comes that way frequently.
So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens after the release of Special Edition. I'm anticipating. I'm hoping that we're going to see the resurgence that I think we're going to see. I mean, indications are that we are going to. We've got mods out there already. We've got some hype around certain modders getting their hands on Creation Kit early and starting to convert things over. And from what I've heard from other modders is that the conversion process is really not too bad. So I think there is a very strong likelihood. Well, I've produced mods. I haven't produced mods to the scale that allow me to get advanced copies of things like Creation Kit. It has gotten me invited into some of the modders forums, which is pretty awesome. And from what I've heard, the conversion process is really not too bad. So Joe and I have discussed the idea of converting the House of Troubles over for console use, hopefully within a month or two of the launch of Special Edition. Hopefully, I would think by Christmas we could have something out so people could actually play around with the House of Troubles on console, which would be so much fun to see how people like that. What do you got?
There are a couple of questions here. One is, what's your favorite Skyrim character? And then we will follow that up with, what is your opinion on mod theft?
Mike's opinion on mod theft?
Yeah, Mike, what's your opinion on mod theft?
I am such a noob on mods that I know Victor has strong opinions on it.
Yeah.
But I am not well versed enough to have an opinion.
No. Yeah.
I think that the hard part about the amount of time that people put into their mods to have stuff lifted and reused without some nod to it is really tough. I mean, it really just comes from the world of doing a lot of web development and everything else, so maybe I'm just a little jaded there. But, when you've poured your heart into something for a really long period of time and someone just usurps it and drops it into everything else, it's hard to feel like you sort of get the emotional payback for all the blood, sweat, and tears. But that's just my opinion.
Well, I think it's the prevailing opinion, especially among people who create mods.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody came and took the House of Troubles and converted it to some other format and put it in a secret link and gave that link to other people on the web, and that would piss me off.
So if someone ported it for the Atari 2600, you'd be ticked?
No, because I would get my revenge. Their experience would be so bad that they would get whatever they deserved. Yeah.
All right. What about the Xbox? What about the PlayStation? What if someone went in and lifted and ported your mod?
I don't know. Some people would say that I should be flattered, but I wouldn't be. I'm not worried about it just because, I'm not a huge modder. I've got 6 mods out there and, several thousand downloads and a few hundred endorsements, which is great, but it doesn't hold a candle to the stuff that like Chesco produces or Manga Club or those guys. I mean, they're producing, putting a lot of work into multiple mods. Yeah,
and I think that it's very accurately described here that mod theft, Wolfieson notes that it really is the same as art theft. I mean, you can be incredibly good at your craft because you've spent hundreds or thousands of hours, building something or even playing. Right. That's how you got to be so good at it. I would have an opinion on it mainly because you see how much time people put into it. You just don't want it walked away because the experience that you built was as good as you could make it at that time.
Right.
May it get better later on? Absolutely. We've seen that with Caranthir Tower Reborn. How much better is that as an experience, and how much time got poured into that? It'd be terrible to have that just ripped out and have someone else screw it up.
Yeah, I think as bad as it is for the individual who creates the mod, I think the scarier thing about it is the idea that perhaps a pervasive issue of mod theft might cause some people who have the capacity to create really awesome mods to stop making them. So
right.
that's what I get nervous about is every time I see Eleonora go into a rant on Twitter about somebody who's messing with her stuff.
Yeah.
I'm getting nervous because I'm like, God forbid she should stop making mods because they're incredible. I don't want her to stop, So, and I think there's a lot of people who feel that way. And that's why you see a lot of people jump to her defense and start wrecking people who are doing things like that, But anyway, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how the community changes and what takes place once people start getting mods on console. And to be honest, Bethesda, it's sort of their responsibility to step up on this. If they want people to use mods on the Xbox, and presumably on PlayStation, they're gonna have to take some steps to make sure that kind of stuff doesn't go on.
Nod to the modders. Yeah.
Otherwise, they're just going to alienate the people that really are supposed to be driving people back into the game.
Oh yeah.
So anyway.
Well, I think we'll take two more questions if we can.
Let's get Mike's answer though. I want to hear Mike's answer on this. Well, I guess this issue of mod theft is one thing, but then also on the favorite character.
Yeah.
Oh, well, favorite character is odd. It's and I was just thinking about it. It's Durnavir in the Soul Cairn, the dragon, obviously.
Yeah.
Soul Cairn. I don't know. He's just he's like Yoda or something. I don't know. He's so respectful and so regal. Mm-hmm. And you think he's like, just there to kill you, and then you beat him, and then he waits for you outside and is like, hey, look, I respect you for this great battle you put up. And I feel bad for him. He's stuck down in one of the most boring places in Skyrim.
Yeah, and he's an absolute mess.
Yeah, so I think I don't know why. I just between him or Parthenax, but I think Durnavir just doesn't get enough credit for just being a regal presence in the game.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice. I like that. That's good. I hadn't really thought about that. Actually, honestly, it's been such a long time since I went through that content that I can't even remember half of what happens. I'm having that experience right now with the series that I'm doing with the Demon Hunter for Expedition Skyrim. I'm going through content that I haven't touched in a very, very long time. And it's like reliving it all over again because there's details I just forgotten about. It's very cool. Yeah, I'm certain that I'm actually very, very close to getting to the content you're talking about, to Durnavir. So now I'm going to pay extra special attention to that interaction. So very cool. What else we got?
A couple of other questions here. One, I'm going to try to summarize a little bit about creating classes for your characters to give higher levels of skills based on training. Creating custom classes.
Custom classes?
We'll maybe have to come back and address that in another.
Are we talking about mods that create classes?
Have you used a mod to create a class for your character, giving him or her higher skills higher levels of skills based on their training?
I have not. I've not used mods, but I will say that I have customized characters using the console to give them advanced levels in certain areas where I thought they should have them.
Mm-hmm.
People who follow my channel know that very rarely do I start a character at level 1 when I'm doing a Let's Play. I don't
would make a very interesting Let's Play.
Well, I don't
Very
start.
long.
I don't start filming content until I hit around level 10. And generally speaking, I'm using level 1 to 10 to get to know the character, to figure out what direction I'm going. And sometimes I'm advancing that character organically, or I'm using console commands to give that character a leg up in a certain area that I think fits their story or their class style, if you will. But I've never used mods to do that. Mike?
I haven't really used mods for that aspect. Generally, if I'm, rolling a character in some way, I just focus on what I feel like they're going to do,
Right.
as opposed to using mods to do it. I just haven't gotten that deep into it. I'll pick mods that kind of fit the story I'm going for, whether it's a archer or, a thief or whatever, but just to enhance it in that way.
Okay. Is the idea of a class, is that a holdover from Oblivion? There were classes in Oblivion, right?
Yeah, there were classes in Oblivion. They were pretty flexible, though. I think in Morrowind they were more stringent.
Okay.
I didn't play a lot of Morrowind, though.
I haven't played any of that, or I haven't played any Oblivion either. So I was going to ask you, have you played any ESO at all, or had any desire to play it?
I tried it a couple times. There was too many people running around in the game.
Yeah.
It's basically what it came down to for me.
Right.
I don't know. It just didn't feel like it was my game.
Yeah.
And I'm not really an MMO player anyway. I guess that's what didn't work for me. I played it in the beta, and then when it hit for Xbox One, I picked up a copy relatively cheap and tried it out. But probably put about 10 hours in, but it just wasn't for me. I always wanted to just go back and play Skyrim. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. However, I will confess that I recently bought a copy of that, and it's sitting there installed, waiting to be tried. But I think I think the main reason that I decided to get it is I felt like it might be interesting to at least go in and explore the game from a lore perspective.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
But when you get into those areas, like some of those community areas where you're trying to pick up a quest or something like that, and there's 27 morons, all jumping around and spamming fireballs and stuff like that. It's like, man, this is so effed up. I just can't even deal with it, So I started actually talking to some ESO players through YouTube just to try to get some impressions from them. I'm like, does the madness stop when I get out into the countryside, like out into the open? Does it get better? Does it feel more like a sort of environment where I'd want to be? And they're like, yeah, it's a little bit better when you get out away from all of these areas that are the focal point for quest givers and stuff. Which I'm sure is the case, but man, I have a hard time sometimes getting past that ridiculousness.
The same way.
Yeah, especially when you're used to an environment like Skyrim, where literally every second of your in-game time can really be really atmospheric. I mean, even when you can go to an inn and you can sit in an inn and feel like the atmosphere is right, Yeah. Whereas if it's a gathering point in ESO and you try to do the same thing, it's like you can never go and sit in an inn or tavern because there's always, like I said, 27 knuckleheads jumping around and doing weird stuff, like I just don't want to see that, I guess. But I don't know. I'm still on the fence about whether or not I'm going to do it. Obviously, I've committed enough to buy the thing. So at some point I'm going to get in there, but that experience, along with the whole idea that I think there's MMO players, experienced MMO players who are like, well, let's see, if you want to do this, the whole idea is that you got to follow XYZ strategy to advance your character to level 50 as fast as possible. So here is the most efficient grind program that you can possibly go on. I'm like, what if I don't want to do that? What if I want to create a character who's just like an old duffer who wanders around the countryside experiencing lore? Can I do that or not? I don't know.
You can.
I can?
You can. I'm sure you can.
Who says?
People will just slaughter you at every turn.
Right.
All right, I have one more question.
Okay.
There's a whole bunch more
Shoot.
questions in the chat. So for those of you whose questions we're not getting to, I apologize.
Come on.
What is your thought about people writing fan fiction about characters created for roleplay, whether they're including your characters or my characters or their own characters? How do you feel about people using roleplay characters in their own fan fiction? So if someone wanted to write a story and included Vander in that, or included Robard, or included Inga, or included Joe's characters, or anything, how do you feel about that, Stu? Do you like it? Do you not like it?
Generally, I do. Generally, I do like it. I mean, I'm always flattered, And it's kind of interesting because somebody wrote a whole thing of fan fiction about Fleet Featherstone, which was my first, my major Let's Play character, yep. and I found it by accident. Really? I completely found it by accident. I was on Googly, and I was for vanity's sake, I was Googling Fleet Featherstone to see what, where there were mentions of him in different places to see where traffic was coming from. And this is at a point where, YouTube analytics weren't quite as thorough as they are now. Mm-hmm. And I ran across a guy on a blog who was writing fan fiction based on that character and included actual, images and stuff like screenshots taken from some videos. And I looked at that and I'm like, wow, that's actually pretty cool.
Nice.
I like that. But the interesting thing about it was he was kind of following my storyline. I mean, he wasn't writing material that was completely original. He was starting with my storyline, my character, and then kind of doing his own thing after that, right? And I thought that was kind of cool, actually. And Katie Bryson, I think it was last week, she did a piece of fan art of Vander, a really beautiful sketch of Vander, and she recorded a YouTube video of her doing it in fast motion, right?
Really?
Using GIMP. It was really amazing and very cool. So I think it's awesome.
We'll have to put up a link to that.
Yeah. Katie's very talented. Very talented. She has her own YouTube channel, and she does she'll do these live streams or whatever where she creates art using GIMP, and you can kind of watch her do it. It's pretty cool stuff. So
okay, I lied. One more question.
Okay.
46 years from now, when they release the next game, what province do you want it to be set in?
That one's for Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
Mike,
take it away.
What province?
46 years now. Jesus Christ.
I'll be dead, but
Okay, so presumably a few months from now, if Bethesda isn't completely toying with us, 2 years, right?
Let's see. What the rumors always, well, not are going, but it was Black Marsh is always the rumor forever and ever and ever in every article. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that, actually. I wouldn't mind kind of going to a different type of world like that, since we're in the mountainous areas, and maybe going splitting between that and drawing a blank on where the Khajiit live right now. But
Elsewhere?
What's that?
Elsewhere?
Yes, that's it. Because that's more desert-like, from what I remember. So splitting between those two would be pretty cool if they could, because you go to the swamps, you go to the deserts. I would like to go to more than one region, actually, in the next one. That would be my dream.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah. I think, they haven't done anything yet that was focused on a region that was kind of revolved around any of the beast races, right? I mean, they haven't done anything that was focused on the beast races.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, it's been what? Morrowind. We've gotten Morrowind. We've gotten Daggerfall. We've gotten in Oblivion, which was mostly Cyrodiil, right?
Yes. Yep.
So, yeah, one of the other rumors I've heard is a lot of people speculating that the next setting is going to be Valenwood.
Oh, yeah, that is the other, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the Black Marsh one was a while ago. Black Marsh / Argonia, they were calling it, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 8 million articles, spammy articles about it.
Yeah.
8 million spammy articles. That pretty much sums it up, I think.
Yeah, if you set up a Google alert for, what was it, Elder Scrolls 6, you got every terrible article in the world.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some pretty out there stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the most recent speculation that I have heard has been on Valenwood. And there was a new barrage of speculation that came out about Valenwood that was kind of making the argument that the idea of Valenwood being the setting was justified by some stuff that was leaked, I think, either on or before the launch of Fallout 4.
Oh,
and then there's some kind of a crazy memo that was supposedly leaked, right? And then recently, when they launched the Nuka World expansion for Fallout 4, it kind of breathed new life into this whole conspiracy theory about Valenwood because, of course, Nuka World was listed in that memo, so it kind of reinforced everybody's thoughts that memo was legitimate.
Yeah.
And there was an item in that memo that specifically mentioned something. I can't remember what it was. There was a line item at the bottom of that memo that said, employees shall not talk about the green something, right? And everybody, based on research and whatnot, were led to believe that code name listed there had something to do with Valenwood.
Right.
I can't remember the arguments for it, but I don't know. It's plausible as anything else I've heard. So.
And the amazing thing is that we'll find out when they release it.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, usually.
Or maybe we found out that all the maps were incomplete.
It's not going to be Skyrim 2, so get off that.
Skyrim 2.
No more Skyrim 2 articles, please.
The Return of Skyrim.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, I want to thank you very much, Mike, for joining us tonight. This was super fun. Wonderful to have you on. And I'm hoping that we can do this again very soon. I wanted to say good luck to you and your whole team on your charity event. I hope that goes well. And, of course, we wish you all the best for your podcast going forward. I get the sense that you guys are rolling with no plans to stop anytime soon. So that's really good news. And I would say, not only good luck on that, but I think my guess is you guys probably got other projects in the works and things that you're going to be releasing soon too. So just thank you very much for being on the show. We do appreciate your coming on.
No, thank you guys for having me. I mean, it's just great to have the Skyrim communities all coming together. It's perfect, because we all just enjoy playing the game and kind of have that, that mutual interest, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's really a strong and interesting community being built around the game. There has been for a long time, but with the special edition coming out, I don't know, there's something gelling right now with Skyrim that I think is really unique and interesting for those of us who've really been diehard and been sticking with it and doing kind of interesting and experimental things with the game for all this time. It's really exciting, the idea that a whole new batch of enthusiasts might be coming into this thing and really starting to enjoy not only the game, but the content that we're producing and the things that we're talking about and all that stuff. I think that's a very exciting time. So very cool.
I want to leave on a good note, reminding people about asapodcasting.com for more information on the upcoming event.
Yep.
And if anyone can figure out the mod that's causing the rollerblading guy, please let me know.
That I think is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Rollerblading guy. Yeah, very cool.
Amazing.
The Ebony Warrior.
Yeah, the Ebony Warrior in
break.
training, working on those groin muscles. All right.
Michael, thank you so much for your time.
Yes.
Thank you guys.
All right. Well, we will catch you later. Thank you, everybody, for attending tonight. We really do appreciate it. You can join us in a couple of weeks. We're going to have another live stream that will be coming directly to you from some location in Skyrim, which I can't remember because I'm not looking at the damn list right now, am I?
And hopefully it won't have the screaming sounds from hell.
Yeah, maybe not.
Brainwaves.
Ooh, Bannered Mare.
The Bannered Mare.
The Bannered
what a great
Mare.
location to be broadcasting from, Stu.
Absolutely. I'm very excited about it. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we'll do something special from the Bannered Mare and get some special guests in the room.
Ooh.
Yeah, maybe Robard could play a gig that night or something.
That would be great.
Yeah, get him in there.
Love to have Robard in there.
Yeah, thank you everybody for attending and for all of your support for both our podcast and also for Mike's. And you know what? Remember, it is not about the objective. It's about the journey. So go forth and experience. Well, thank you.
Bow. Bow.